guys, welcome back to my channel. It seems like it's been so long since I recorded a video. I actually think it has been so long since I've recorded a video. I think since like the first week of school, and we are now entering our 5th week or 6th week. No, we just finished we're entering our sixth week of school. Honestly, I don't know. That's how the school year is going. I feel like lost, but not as lost as last year. I just don't know how to explain what this school year has been. But before I hop into this school year, how I'm feeling, how things are going, and then a quick Q&A at the end of this, I want to go ahead and reintroduce myself because it's been a while. So my name is Keanna. I am also the art of FUNology everywhere. Be sure to follow me on Instagram if you already do. If you don't already. I'm also on TikTok. I am on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. If there's a social media platform, Pinterest, I'm probably there. So look me up, The Art of FUNology, like in all those places. And right now I teach 4th grade. I say right now because I do change grades a lot. Right now I'm teaching 4th grade math, science, and social studies. It is my first time teaching 4th grade though, in a not summer school setting. So that's been an adjustment, but not in the ways that I expected. So I guess I can go ahead and talk to you guys about how this school year is going. And in short, the school year is just literally not what I expected. And I know I'm not alone in this. This same sentiment I've seen across social media. I've heard it at district meetings. I've heard it from my teammates. And I think just after last school year, a lot of people just anticipated that this year would be so much better. And it just has not been. Also, I want to go ahead and just throw out there that I did not do anything to my appearance today. This is barefaced Keanna because I just wanted to record this quick video really to kind of just get my feelings out. It's so easy for me to just kind of purge my feelings, and I don't keep a diary and I don't journal like I should. So this will be my way of getting out how I'm feeling, also sharing that with you guys, and I'm gonna be able to look back on this at the end of the school year and think, wow, Keanna, look at how you were feeling in September. You feel so much better now. Or next school year, I'm gonna be looking at some challenges that I had, and I know that I can anticipate certain things and maybe move a little differently. So all of that said, let's get into how this school year is going. So like I said, I'm in a new classroom, new grade level, new students, but I'm still teaching the same subjects, which are math, science, and social studies. I teach 2 groups a day, and I am loving my homeroom. We did have some issues a little bit sooner than I would have anticipated with just how we talk to our classmates, being respectful, things like that. But I think we've gotten a good grip on that, and I'm really proud of how far they've come and how they work together, how we collaborate, how they collaborate. I feel like that class is going places. I love my homeroom so much, and I'm just really excited to see how we grow throughout the school year. I love my second class too. They're just totally different classes, and my second group has a lot of personality, and so I'm just trying to direct that into learning. We laugh so much in that class, and I just have to do better. I can't laugh at their jokes because then that just takes away from the learning, and we're working towards some things. But even still, I know that by the end of the year, there's gonna be so much growth, and it's gonna be fun to look at those things. The first week, I will say I was exhausted trying to figure out all the personalities, and just people were different than I expected. But we've gotten that under control, and that I'm really grateful for. We have a flow to our school day, and that took some time, a lot longer than usual. I feel like I'm pretty strong with my classroom management, and I'm pretty strong with my procedures, and my regular tricks and my regular methods were not as effective as they typically were. So that was a kind of a gut punch for me, because things that I knew to work well were suddenly not being as effective. We were just very mediocre, and I was still having to repeat myself a lot, and that's just something that I try to nip in the bud very early, and that just wasn't my strategies were not working. So I had to do a hard reset after week 3 and really utilize our house system. I incorporated table points into the classroom so that students were working more swiftly through their transitions and more swiftly just throughout the day, working together collaboratively, so not only am I rewarding the students for whole class things, but now they're earning points as a table, because I'm like, which table can get their journals out the quickest, which table can put up their math centers the quickest, because we were just losing a lot of time with talking, kind of moving slow, not having a sense of urgency. So those table points were really a great reward. That said, I also realized that I needed to do better about rewarding my students generally. So we're giving out those PBIS incentives, but I've also been giving out Jolly Ranchers, been giving out the laptop stickers that the students love, and homework passes. So just trying to find different ways to praise the behaviors that I like to see in the classroom, and also shake up or give various options for rewards so that one thing doesn't get too old too fast. So that has helped a lot with managing the classroom and just kind of making a flow in the classroom and getting us to that week 6 point. So that's a good thing, and that's something I'm really grateful for, because for a while I just didn't know where to go. And that, going off of that, I do feel like this year is really making me question a lot of things that always worked before. Like, why are methods that I had before suddenly not working? And it really, I think, has to do with the fact that we taught in a pandemic. Last year, a lot of students were not at school, and even the students that were at school, there were no real procedures in the classroom. There was a lot of sit and get. We couldn't be as collaborative as we were pre-pandemic. There weren't like math centers where you were grabbing all of these shared materials. A lot of it was you come in the class and you sit all day, and you're not doing a lot of different things that would require all these different procedures. So getting that flow back in the classroom of things like, how do we line up quietly? How do we transition from science to social, or math to science, or math to social studies? That took time. And that's just something that's going to take a little bit longer, because in most years, the beginning of the year, they're coming off the heels of just 2 or 3 months of summer, and they already had those procedures, whereas now we are like a year and a half plus since the last time they've seen procedures like this. So we're just rusty. I'm rusty, the kids are rusty, and we're just working towards, that. But in other aspects of teaching, just getting used to the new curriculum, I do feel like I'm struggling this year to be as creative as I'd like to be, and that's just really hard for me, because I am so unaccustomed to just doing the same workshop model every day. I love the workshop model. I think it's so vital, so important, but I do feel with math that math should be more exploratory than it should be, here's the strategy that I want you to use, and do it. I like to see students have a chance to explore that on their own and come up with inventive strategies, and then kind of hone in or refine that with a modeling after they have that exploring time. But I just feel like with how the schedule is set up, or I don't really know what it is, but I am just finding it hard to find those times to build the creativity in my lessons. Like, I'm just getting the bare minimum, which is analyzing the standard and getting the information that I need, and I don't necessarily have that time to build in the creativity. And I just kind of feel like when I'm teaching that way, everything gets super routine, and I also feel like for my students, I don't want our classroom to be so routine that they get bored. So that's kind of where I am now, because I could feel it coming, and I just know I'm not being who I am as a teacher. So that's been a struggle, like being aware that I'm not doing it, but not knowing how to fix it. I also feel like I just do not have time, and I'm still trying to figure that part out too. Last year was a hard year for me, so I was very strict on not working after school, not checking emails, any of that. If it didn't get done in the work hours at school, then it just didn't get done. And this year I wanted to have that same mindset, but that just hasn't been the case. I don't work nearly as much as I had pre-pandemic, but I'm finding that if I don't put in extra time, then I just don't have time, and I'm trying to figure out what it is that is not being done, or why something's off. I'm really struggling with that. And on top of that, we're still teaching in a pandemic, so the COVID procedures are still in place. You know how this goes. You might have students out, you may have coworkers out, and you're just also worried about yourself. Well, at least I am worried about myself. I do have the vaccine. I don't want to get sick, but also I'm struggling with like, I need a break. These are just my honest feels, and it just is what it is. So yeah, that's all the things that we are battling this year. So even though all of my students are learning in person, we are not doing any virtual teaching, I'm still struggling to know where to go this year. And I feel worse this year because I feel like I don't have a reason to complain, because I have my kids back, I love my classroom, and I'm still so tired and still feeling overwhelmed. And it's just really, really challenging. So that's how I'm feeling. I would love to hear how you're feeling about this school year. Is the school year better than last year, worse than last year, about the same? And why do you feel the way that you're feeling? If you're having a great school year, I would love to hear that. So last year, I didn't really care to hear if anybody was having a great year because I'm like, good for you. But this year, I would love to hear about people's success stories because that would give me something to look forward to. And also knowing like what's working well in your classroom and what's not working so well, what adjustments you've had to make. But also it's nice to know that someone may be feeling the same way I'm feeling, which is just overwhelmed. So yeah, how are you feeling this school year? What grades do you teach? My elementary teachers, my middle school teachers, and high school teachers. I would love to know like if there's a difference depending on the different age group that you teach. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop into the Q&A and see what questions you guys have for me, and I'll go ahead and answer some of those right now. All right, so the first question asks, how are you doing this school year? I think I've kind of gone over that. This year I'm just tired. That's the best way to explain how I feel. And I just feel also that this year is just not what I expected. I'm pretty sure I said that already too, but I feel like I had high hopes, and this is the kind of thing where they warn you like to not get your hopes too high because yeah, I don't know where I'm going. So someone asked, what are you most proud of your students so far this school year? So something that I think I am most proud of with my students is that we as a class had to address that there was an issue with how we were talking to each other and that we were not using respectful language. Students were getting their feelings hurt, and we could just do so much better. There was no reason for us to not be nice to our classmates, and we had a class conversation. We addressed it as a class. We talked about the different needs that we had as a class, and since that moment, I have not had those issues. So I'm proud of how my students took that moment that we shared as a class, were honest. Students shared their feelings and how they honestly felt about one another, and we made a plan for how we would approach the rest of the school year as a class, as a house, and I am really proud of how they were able to adjust their attitudes and think about each other and not just about themselves. And I think that's also kind of hard to do because there wasn't as much collaboration last year, so that's an adjustment that doesn't necessarily fall on them. But even though they may not have had that practice last year, they are still being more cognizant of how their words can affect others and also seeking opportunities to praise and support one another. So that makes me really proud. Another question I have is, it says, I'm a coach for first grade teachers. How do you not let your stress impact the students? That one's, I don't really know how to put that into words. The best and the worst parts of teaching are that when you walk into your classroom, you're supposed to leave your issues at the door. That is great because whatever you're carrying, whatever baggage you have, you're not bringing that upon your students. But it also kind of sucks because you can't show your human side to your students. But I do want to say that my issues that I'm having this school year aren't things that students need to burden themselves with. That's not something that I would want to put on my students, and I don't really even have to think about it when I come to school because at the end of the day, I'm still trying to be the best teacher I can be. I'm still trying to make learning fun for my students. I'm still trying to have those high expectations and setting the bar high so that they can perform to a higher level. So I think I'm worried about too many other things while students are in my classroom for me to think about my burdens. Those are like when the kids go to specials, I'm instantly bogged down with a lot of things, or when students leave for the day, I'm thinking about all the things I still need to do when I'm home at night. But the best part about children is they're kind of magical in that they literally can make you forget all of your woes, all of your problems, and you're just thinking about all the fun that you want to have or what you can do to help this child. And so I think for me, I just don't even think about it, which I'm not sure if that's helpful, but I don't really have that struggle when students are in my room. Another question I got is, how is the morale at your school? So I'm gonna be very honest about this. Last year I started at a brand new school, well, brand new to me, in the middle of a pandemic. So we were not super social. We were in the middle of a pandemic. So it's not like I had all these opportunities to get to know my coworkers, and we were wearing masks. So for a long time, I didn't even know anyone except for my teammates. And in entering this school year, I'm kind of in the same boat. I still feel like I do not know most teachers at my school, and I probably have not spoken to most teachers at my school. So for me to speak about the morale at my school, I really wouldn't know. I know how I'm feeling, and I know how a couple of my teammates have expressed how they're feeling this school year, which is just that this year is just not what we expected. But I really cannot speak to the morale at my school from what I see. It just wouldn't be fair, and I truly don't know. What are your school/district COVID protocols like? To be honest, that's another one that if I'm being honest, I truly don't know. I know that we wear masks, and that's about it. COVID protocols change very often, so much so that I have just not worried about tracking it. If a situation were to arise, I know the people in my school that I need to let know, and they will take it from there, and they kind of guide me in what I need to do. Another question I have is, do you write out whole lesson plans and turn them in, and how far ahead do you plan? So our lessons are very interesting. Lesson planning has been a struggle for me this school year, if I'm being 100% honest. In my dream world, I would like to be 2 weeks ahead of plans, and I know a lot of people are not like that, but for me, being 2 weeks ahead of my plans allows me to then be able to think about those ways to be more creative with my lessons. So if I'm 2 weeks ahead, I have some time to think about what needs to be taught and how I can make it more engaging or make it more fun. I have time to get materials ready, especially if I am going to do something more fun or off track, I guess you could say. I can order those materials and make sure that they're in my class in time. And that's just not something that I feel like I'm afforded, like that freedom or liberty to do when I'm 1 week ahead at a time. I just don't have enough time to prepare and be creative. So I like to be ahead 2 weeks before. I don't write super detailed lessons. Math is pretty simple in that you're going to be modeling a problem. The students are going to be trying a problem, and yeah, that's about it. So I don't necessarily write out the words that I need to say. I'm more just writing what I want as my different parts of the lesson and making sure I have enough information to where I'm able to teach that. I haven't always been that way. I used to write incredibly detailed lesson plans. Again, not necessarily because I had to, but because I wanted to be able to see everything. But I have been teaching long enough to where as long as I have the bones, I know how to do the rest of that and have a good idea about how to do the rest of that. We also don't have to turn in our lesson plans at my new school. At my old school, we did have to turn in our lesson plans. Whether or not they were reviewed, I don't actually know, but we don't have to turn in lesson plans at my new school. So I hope that answers that questions about how lesson plans are going. The last question I have is, how do I set a work/sleep/planning at home for work schedule without burning out? And girl, I don't know. That I am burning out as we speak. I don't sleep. I pretty much go to bed at 12 or later every night, and then just wake back up at 6 to start all over again, which is not the healthiest habit, but that's just where we are. I try to not work from home every day. I try to just knock things out Thursdays and Fridays for the week coming so that I can have my weekends as free as possible. But the other days I'm working on different influencing things or emails and still unpacking our home. So I don't have that balance, and I think that's why I'm so overwhelmed. This school year is just not fitting well. Trying to make the pieces go together, I'm struggling with making that happen. So I don't have that right now, and I do feel like I'm on track to burn out just like I did last year, and that makes me nervous. I would love to say that this was an uplifting vlog, but I know that it was not. But I also want to share this just in case you are not having the best school year either. I'm not saying that the school year won't get better or that things won't start to flow. I'm just saying that this is where I'm at right now, and I wanted to share that because as a teacher, I should have that liberty to do so. I hate that teachers have to pretend to be happy all the time because that's just not always the case. And I had a district meeting earlier this week, and the district asked us, how are you feeling? How are the staff members feeling at your school? How are the students feeling? And everyone said overwhelmingly that teachers are tired, overwhelmed. And our district leaders told us it's okay to not be okay. They told us that we don't have to pretend to be happy if we're not happy, that they know that the school year is hard and they may not have the answers, but they don't want us to walk into our schools every day pretending that we're happy. And even though there is no solution to our issues, that made me feel so much better knowing that even though people around me might feel that I'm being negative or I'm not as happy as I should, the leaders in our district know that we're having a hard time, and they are allowing us to have that hard time, and they're working to find strategies to make us feel better or help us out. They don't have the answers yet, but they're working towards it and they're aware of it. So that made me feel very comforted in moving forward throughout this school year. So that's how I'm feeling right now. That's how the school year is going. I hope to start vlogging in the classroom again, but I have a student teacher, so things are gonna look a little differently. She's starting to take over most things in the classroom, so I'm really hands-off now. So finding what to share in vlog is a little bit different for me right now, but I'm so excited to be back on YouTube. It already feels so much better getting everything out. This is very cathartic. And I hope that you let me know in the comments how you're feeling. I hope that if you're not having a great time and you can relate, that things get better soon, because I hope that things get better for me soon too. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And I will see you guys hopefully next Sunday if I can get my life together. I hope you guys have a great teaching week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.